So a few of the other questions were just about like when to start treatment, you know, kids tripping, etc. So in terms of like in towing while walking, or even out towing or toe walking or any of those things, I start pretty much as soon as, I would recommend starting when you notice. So you might see some variances in walking when a little one is first learning how to walk. So in those first 2 months, they're figuring it out. They are going to change up what they're doing, trying to find that stability and the ability to create the movement. But if they're still doing it, if they have been walking as their primary means of mobility for 2 months and they're doing it, you should come in. Now, when would you start sooner? If they have been standing and cruising and all of that, their toes are in, and you correct it and it goes right back, and you have not seen any like variances in that toe in position, I would come sooner. I wouldn't wait till the 2 months of independent walking. Now, if it's been longer than that, go get somebody to look at it right away. Can never hurt. So even with those torsions and like the twists in the bones, you still are going to want to work on a lot of the things we were talking about. So like that hip and core stability, foot control, ankle responses, overall balance, you know, foot strength, push off, all of that, because it's going to help their gait become more efficient. So especially if you have a kid that's like tripping a lot over their feet, it could be because of in towing, it could be because of toe walking, which toe walking doesn't look like a toe on the toes all the time. It can look like, I don't know if I have a good angle here, let's see. It can look like just hitting the front of the feet. So it's like their weight is shifted forward. And so you could have toe walking and in towing together. But if they have those, how I talked about the feet, just seeming like that they don't have any control over their feet, think about it. If you just have feet flopping around on the bottom, I mean, I'm exaggerating with the flopping around, but it's a lot harder to walk with control and not trip and catch your toes because you're not really aware of what your feet are doing. They're just kind of along for the ride. Same thing, like if a child is in bare feet versus shoes, and you notice it in shoes but not bare feet, or vice versa. It could go either way. It could be either it's not the right shoe, or they have some of these challenges but you can't see them in the bare feet because they can compensate well, or it's not they're not being challenged enough, but you put the shoes on, it adds a little bit of resistance, or it's harder to hide the variances in walking. So those could be different things. Or you don't see it in shoes and you take the shoes off and you notice it with bare feet. It could be that the shoe and the shape of the shoe is hiding what's happening. But you know, going back though, if it's consistent and they have been walking for 2 months at least. Now, if they're a brand new walker, yes, you're going to see those changes between shoes and no shoes, and you'll see differences even when you put one type of shoe on versus a different type of shoe. So if you're seeing that they're having a hard time with their foot, I like to go with a little bit less of a flexible sole. So like you want some bend, but you don't want to be able to just like crumple the shoe in your hand, because these kids need a little bit more support than that. I think that I'm answering the questions. You know, in terms of like how long, how often, how I treat them, I really look at what seems to be the problem and I address that. In terms of frequency and length, that just depends on the child, the family, funding source, their schedule, our schedule. You know, I don't have a cookie cutter approach. So I really go with what I think is going to serve the family best with all of those constraints in mind. Let me know if you have any other questions. I think I got to all of the questions that I had between these 3 videos. And you know, if you still have more questions or you want specific support that's specific to your child, I'll put a link towards our telehealth consults where I can do an assessment of your child to give you an idea of what to work on or what might be needed. So I'll put that link here. I'll also have that link in our bio. So thank you guys.